Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Paul. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
Now that Halloween is over, it's on to more light-hearted viewings.
Yay!
Or at least this first one will be.
Easing
For a
me in.
change, yeah.
Yeah. I've had a hard couple of weeks, haven't I? Well, I put my big girl knickers on, but now I'm ready for cosy Christmas and nice, calm, not scary films.
Yeah. Well, we've got another month before Christmas rolls around. But
I think we should just start now. So everything's out there, all the Christmas stuff, turkeys in the shops. Let's just start Christmas. No.
No, I don't have to roll on the bandwagon like all the retailers are.
Yeah, but obviously if you could start Halloween in
yeah.
September, which you can't, then you would. So don't be like, me, just because it's Christmas.
But horror can be enjoyed all year round.
Oh yeah, killing somebody is enjoyable. Right, we agree to disagree.
Yeah, I know. But this time I went, as I said, for a nicer pick, one that neither of us have seen, and something I wanted to see for a while because I was intrigued by it. It's called Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
So I remember this being on your birthday list for me to get you, and you being an awkward Nelly, wanted it in 4K, and for some reason it just disappeared on like.
Yeah, it did. It really kind of annoyed me a little bit. Like just off the face of the earth. I think in the States it probably still exists, but again, for getting some of these 4K things over in the UK, it's really tricky. Sometimes I don't know what it must be a distribution thing or something. But
I don't know because I feel like I was like, you put it on as 4K. I was searching and I went, are you sure this is a 4K? Like, are you having me on? You're like, no, it is. And I'm like, well, now I'm giving it away. But I was obviously intrigued and wanted to buy you it. But then you ended up, later on, it was back in 4K and you bought it yourself.
No, it's a Blu-ray. It's a Blu-ray disc I've got. So it's not quite the thing. But I'm thinking, got it fairly cheap. So it's like, oh guys, let's get round to just because I was just intrigued by it.
So basically, then when the 4K comes out, you'll sell that one on and get the 4K.
No, I don't. Well, it depends on what the film's like, isn't it? If it's like, oh yeah, this definitely must have. So I guess we'll find out by the end of.
I'll ask you the question at the end of the episode then.
But obviously you kind of know because obviously you've researched what the cover like, who Marcel, the title character in question, looks like.
Yeah, he's so flipping cute.
By the cover, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I read the back as well, obviously, because was invested in buying you it.
Yeah. I
normally always give it a bit of a read, so I do actually know already what you're going to tell me.
Okay, would you like to read it for the people?
Oh my god.
What the IMDb reads.
Okay. The pressure.
Mix things up again.
Okay. A cash-strapped documentary maker decides to make his newest documentary about a mollusk shell he finds living in his Airbnb with his friends. With his friends? The shell's friends, or living in his Airbnb with his friends? Yeah, so I'm guessing it means the shell has friends.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Did I do that alright?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Apart from laughing. Well,
mollusk.
Mollusk. That really threw me off,
mollusk,
that did. Yeah. I don't actually know what a mollusk shell is. I'm guessing it's what that is, but...
Yeah, like a type of shell, yeah, it's that kind of one where there's a little...
I don't know. I'm one of those, a shell is a shell.
But something that normally lives inside it, I think, so...
Ah, okay, like a snail.
Yeah, exactly, that's what mollusk.
Okay. I'm intrigued, I'm excited. I think it's going to be cute.
Up your street, yeah.
So, I'm ready.
And I think it has that kind of indie film vibe to it, so that's kind of something that kind of takes things out of the norm. So, not like a typical, like, kids' film. I think a bit more depth to it than that.
Okay. So, I like it then, already. Let's do it.
Okay, right. So we're back very shortly with our thoughts on Marcel the Shell with shoes on.
Rolling. Give me some levels.
Give you some levels? Like,
Just like talk a little bit.
Hello, my name is it's not the first time I've done that. My name is Marcel, and I'm partially a shell, as you can see on my body, but I also have shoes and a face. So I like that about myself, and I like myself, and I have a lot of other great qualities as well.
That's perfect.
And we're back, having seen what Marcel the Shell is all about. Mm-hmm. And did he capture your heart?
Of course he did. Like, why wouldn't he? The voice is, yes, you did point out it's female, but it's the damnest, cutest voice ever.
Yeah. Well, do you know who?
I wanted to think it was Louise, but I always cling to Louise Belcher as any kind of...
Kirsten Shaw. No, it's not her. It's Jenny Slate.
We watched her in... She was a bit of a dark comedy, wasn't it? And she was Jewish. And it was like a funeral.
I don't know about that. She was in Parks and Recreations for a little bit. She was one of the characters.
She was really annoying.
Yeah, really annoying character in that. She was in a film with Charlie Day, I think, where they were like, I can't remember what the film was called now. Let me just have a quick look.
Do you know what film I'm on about, though? Am I being completely reserved with thinking she was on that?
Yeah, that one with Charlie Day and I Want You Back. And it was like they'd broken up or something.
I don't think I've seen that.
No, we have seen that. I know we have.
Have
it was on Amazon.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah. But I don't know what you're referring to.
It's like a dark comedy. And she was never good enough for her parents, and there was a funeral, and she was Jewish.
Not sure.
It was good. Can't remember the title of it, though.
Actually, she was in Bob's Burgers movie.
Was she?
Tammy Larson. She does a voice of Tammy. Maybe that's why then. Yeah, she does. So she's involved in Bob's Burgers. But she's got that kind of voice that's unique. So, so for the character of Marcel, it's kind of like high pitched or just really
but it's like a kid's voice, isn't it? Basically, and obviously a boy would not have
a
very
levels haven't dropped.
So he would have a squeakier voice.
Yeah.
I think it's adorable that he has shoes. I don't know why he has shoes.
And that just makes it more of a
character.
Stand out, really. Because otherwise, if it was just literally just a shell that talked, it would be pretty boring. Like, he wouldn't be able to have much movement, would he?
And how would he get around and such? Yeah. So I think we just have to appreciate this film for what it is. It's really lighthearted, but the storyline behind it is solid. The stop frame within it. So you have to think, wow, for the way that stop frame has, where it started to how it is now, there were certain shots me and you were going, that must be like they've moved the shell and taken photos and then superimposed it onto the backdrop and such.
Yeah, because there's like a point when Marcel was riding in the documentarian's car, and it's like, obviously for a cameraman to prove it might be reflected in the glass, so it's like, well, how do they do that without, especially as there's like moving traffic and stuff. So I'm thinking that's got to maybe have had some just overlaid footage of him within that scene, because I don't know how else they would have be able to do that without seeing somebody moving.
And the reflection, the timing with the car as well. Like, let's say if you don't get the shot that you need,
you can't just and it's like, that'd be jarring, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So I think it's being controlling of something actually physically moving, and then you moving your object to create your stop motion. Yeah. That's like another level, isn't it? Whereas normally you have to move everything in the background and everything else within the scene.
Yeah.
He's got, basically it's just Marcel and his grandma that you get to see the stop motion in.
And, no, that's not true, because there's all the other elements that obviously that Marcel essentially picks up and...
I mean more when it's, them involved and the objects around them, but as actually characters.
Yeah, and also that helps because they haven't got loads of appendages to like move around, so that adds to the sort of quick, obviously I say quick motion of getting the character to actually move, as opposed to say like, you know, something like in Coraline or something where they got loads like fingers and facial expressions to do and all that kind of body.
Whereas
motion.
obviously he's just got one eye, he's got a little mouth that.
Yeah, it's a little shuffle kind of thing that he does. Yeah,
and it's adorable. It really is. So they lived in a house with a couple, and they all they did was argue. And I'm guessing they've picked up shells as they've gone along on a journey. By the sounds of things, that's how I impersonate it. Like I was thinking, oh my goodness, how many shells have I picked up? And I could have Marcel the shell or some part of family together in my house, because that's what it is, isn't it? Because how else will these shells appear to be in their normal habitat out, near the sea?
Yeah, you just take it for what it is, don't you, really? It's, you're not thinking, oh, this isn't unrealistic.
Yeah, so I just see it's like people have gone on the beach, they picked up the shells like you do and you take them home. And that's how
they've come to life.
They've created like a little colony in the house.
Yeah.
I guess the people don't even know that they exist and move the way that they do. So Marcel has about 20 other siblings or relatives or a community of 20 shells, basically.
Just make you think like, I was just saying, I've got my mum and my dad here, and my grandma, but like, does that imply that the shells have had sex, or how does or is it like a childlike way of saying, like, like in other animated films or whatever, it'd be like, oh yeah, it's mum, dad, and how they describe, like, this is my relative, and it's like, you're not really asking too much questions about how that even
No, I don't think you are. I think you're thinking far too much into it. You shouldn't be thinking about how shells have sex.
Yeah.
Basically, I think it's just giving them names and you understanding their
relationship.
Yeah, the relationship within it. There is a lot of other people within this that are part of the community who aren't related to him. Obviously, they're just like next door neighbours and such like that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ask how they become neighbours, because they live together,
no,
so that's why they're neighbours.
Slightly different from when they're different.
I can't believe you just said that to me.
Species, but
But basically, long story short, the couple split up, and what I thought I heard or established was that they took a draw where they thought their family was staying, and they watched this big 60-second minute thing on telly.
Yeah, 60 Minutes with Leslie Stahl.
And they watched that, and all the shells sit down as a community to watch it. And then the arguing happened, so majority of them ran into a little drawer.
Mm-hmm.
And then they moved house and the drawer got taken away. That's what I remember hearing at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And so Marcel's like, I wanted to find my family again because I only got my grandma left here with me.
And he misses, obviously, his mum and dad. He had friends, I'm guessing, and other relatives and such that he wants to be nearby. It does get a bit to a point where, obviously, his grandma, she ain't getting any younger, is she? And it's like, well, he's going to be on his own.
Mm-hmm.
They've rented the house out as an Airbnb, which seems a bit weird because, obviously, it's so modernised now. Like, we have to have an Airbnb and make it, like, cool. And I don't know, I hate films like this where it's like, it's going to have a timestamp on it now. Because what about when Airbnbs aren't a thing? Like, that will happen eventually.
I don't know. I feel like it's a concept that's not going to, like, die out. It's not really like a fad, is it? Like technology is. It's everyone's going to need.
But I think it's going to give it a more timestamp on when this was created.
There's a lot of films these days that kind of have the Airbnb.
And I think the technology side of it really annoys me in social media. And I guess making it more relatable to us now.
That I could see maybe aging a tiny bit because a lot of the film at the beginning kind of focuses around that. I mean, YouTube angle of being a sensation on there.
Yeah,
that's been for 10 years or something now, when YouTube's kind of blown up, and that's how they get the views and likes and all that kind of stuff and the comments and stuff. That's still prevalent to this day. And
it is, but I think it's also like the reels at the moment, and everybody's into quick videos and all of that. Which
is what some of the people do which I get for the sort of like the frustration when Marcel's like trying to reach out to somebody, like genuinely like asking the wider community, the audience who like the videos and stuff, and it's like, oh please, can somebody help me find my family? All these people, and they're all just coming. Here's my house, and then people are outside doing like TikTok videos and all that kind of stuff, and doing like, yeah, look where I'm at, bro, and all, and stuff. And it's like, that's not really helping me at all. It's just you gloating about
you being on my property,
fame, on that, and getting the likes and stuff. So yeah, I can get the frustration with that being a thing that maybe sort of dated.
I think it will, and it annoys me that Marcel the Shell has more common sense than the actual people that are in this film. Like a shell has better morals.
Simplistic nature, which I think is the charm of him, really, because he kind of sees and says things or sees the world as we should do, as opposed to just being blindsided by what we think should be the case for having
what should be posted and, oh, look, we're having a fantastic time, but actually you've had a shit time. And I think it's just all fake and false, and I think that's what Marcel isn't. He's just his real shell self.
Yeah.
And he's got just a lovely charm about him. The way that he goes about going up and getting things. So, for example, he uses the honey as, like, suckers for his shoes. And he's walking up and he's, like, making these little footprints on the wall so that he can get to a higher level or, like, wherever he needs to be going. He does clever little things like tying a rope around a tree and then gets the mixer on and shakes all the fruit off the tree. He's then trying to get the fruit into the house so that they can eat, which I know this sounds daft, I like, shells eat. I know obviously if it's got something inside it,
but if he's technically a mollusk, then he needs some sort of sustenance. But
to me, it just looks like a normal shell initially, and it's like, well, shells, I don't think they eat.
No, not with like the ones that you got on the side.
I actually looked after we watched this film, and I was like, is there any Marcels in here that I've got?
Only if you put googly eyes on it. Then I guess
we have got some googly little eyed pebbles, but not shells. But the other charm about him, like, for example, the way that they've thought about, a quick way for him getting him to A to B is put him in a tennis ball and let him, like, roll around. So that his... there was like hamster wheels where you're covered in cotton wool kind of thing, in a sense, like is covered in bubble wrap. And protecting him while he can get to A to Z, basically, and making the process faster for him. I don't know, it's just a quality of charm to it all.
To enjoy it for what it is kind of what you're going for. There's not a great depth to the story, but it's more like a philosophical way of looking about perspective of the modern world, I suppose.
I think there's always a moral within it, and I feel like you could get several little morals from it and learn to actually value your family. Because you don't know what you've got until it's gone. That actually not everybody is your friend, and the social media and being popular isn't actually all it's cracked up to be, because you could be still as lonely as ever.
Because the first 30 minutes of that are kind of almost like the setup of what he's about and how he's... Because I think this started off as like a couple of shorts on YouTube. So they're kind of almost like a background story of how Marcel became popular in the first place to have his own movie, because the director of this documentary that's living in this Airbnb, Dean, is actually... who was married to Jenny Slate.
All right.
Well, the concept of the short film came out in 2010.
Okay.
And they got married in 2012, but they separated in 2016. Yet they still believed in the project, so that they managed to still work together amicably, to make this film a reality. So
it makes more sense with the breakup now and the arguing and yelling. Kind of seems more apt. Why you've got a couple. And also it feels like the Shells have a part of the separation.
There's something in that written.
It's like a child, isn't it? Basically, that's what Marcel is. Even though it's not an actual physical child, it is theirs in a sense. Obviously, the guy that's coming in and living in the air.
Dean.
Dean in the Airbnb. He's also split from his.
So it kind of makes more punch to the story if it's actually more about saying, "Oh, wife separate from a wife." So it's kind of more true to life rather than just a character specifically written for that role. When it's
also he had a dog which Marcel doesn't really like, so he ends up sending the dog back to his ex-wife's house to look after, because I think Marcel's quite protective over his grandma, because it's obviously the only family he's got.
Yeah, she's quite sweet as well. But the fact that obviously she's like the older generation, the kind of are they like, oh, we want you to live your life kind of thing, and don't let my ailments hold you back type of thing. And yet we as the younger generation are like, oh no, we still want to like care for you, but
you don't want them to feel like they're holding you back.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you want to still live your life, but you want to make sure that they're okay.
Yeah.
And I think we more and more feel that way. Like you want to go
as we grow older ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, and your loved ones grow older.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh gosh. So like her being so fragile, like I can see my mum being like that. Like if she knew I really wanted to do something and put myself forward, but the only reason why I wouldn't is because I didn't want to leave her or whatever. I feel like she would act like she's fine.
Yeah.
Even if she's not.
Yeah.
Just so that I would do what I needed to do. And I think that's what I saw in her, because like, bless her, the little grandma's like, she's had a bump to the head and got a little bandage on herself and such, and she's not really got an appetite. I think she knows she's not feeling great. And initially Marcel's like, oh, she's losing her marbles kind of thing, and he's being quite sweet about it, but at the same time he's getting quite frustrated with her. And that's really relatable. And then he's like, oh, she's made a fast recovery, and then the naive and innocence of him.
She's got some colour in her cheeks, and there's like a shot of like a crayon in the camera, just at that time as that's been described. So it's like, oh, well, yeah, she's just drawn. And
there's a close up of like the rosy cheek, and you can tell it's just like some crayon on her face. Yeah. And like when he makes her tea, and he's like, wow, did you just eat that all? And she's just chucked it out of the window for the spiders. Which
the spiders, yeah. So I think you showed me something a long while back, but I think it's called Lucas the Spider.
Yes.
Or something. It had like a cute voice. I don't know if it's the same voice as this.
It looks like the same spider.
So whether it's the same, another concept, but they looked very much similar to those videos I remember seeing all those years ago.
They made me not want to kill spiders, which was
the cute voice.
Yeah. And to be fair, my tolerance of spiders has improved. But if it's a massive one crawling on my floor and it's coming at me, it's going to get squished.
Okay.
But if it's a tiny one and I can live with it, then that's fine. But it depends on the size, I think.
And whereabouts it is.
Yeah. And if it's coming at me. Then if it's just in the corner and it's doing nothing wrong, then it's like, well, we can tolerate you.
Yeah.
But I think this is what's kind of sweet about the film in general. There's another line which makes me chuckle where he's like, have you had a raspberry? Like, I don't know why. This seems to crop up in several times. And it's like, I feel like the guy that's living there should just be like buying him a raspberry just so that he can try it. Like, why is he not doing that for him?
Well, he doesn't do a lot of things, does he? He's kind of like, oh, I can't be in the shot or anything. It's like, just do what you do if I wasn't filming you. It's almost like he should be assisting more because he's there to film Marcel, but he doesn't want to appear on camera or get involved.
I think it's because it's a documentary, so he wants to see Marcel in his true form. And
but if you're obviously speaking to him in that sense, it's the way the camera's moving and stuff, and it's like he's got to run across to a room for whatever reason. It's like you can, just if he's in trouble, or something, just
help him out. Yeah, give him a raspberry. Okay. Obviously, he does help him out and take him around the car and look for his family. So there's his mum's called Catherine and his dad's called Mario, which did make me chuckle. I don't know why, because I'm immature, I guess.
Yeah, you just think of Yahoo.
Yeah. It was very good. That was, but obviously, I don't think Marcel realizes, and I don't think you do when you're little, how vast the world actually is.
No, I mean, I still don't know how vast the world is. I think, when you look at, I guess, what you see on TV, and then you're thinking, oh, it doesn't take long, like just focusing on like a city or something. like, I don't know, say New York or something, and thinking, oh, it's just that one segment, but there's probably loads and loads of districts within that
true.
city and stuff to get to, and it's like to get across from. I know we've done like travelling and stuff,
but I think it's like
from A to B and stuff like
finding a needle in a haystack kind of thing, isn't it? I think he just doesn't realise that the world even expands outside of his front door.
That's maybe one of the slight gripes I have with the film, because in my head, and from what I saw, maybe sort of trailers and stuff, it made it sound like he was sort of like, I'm going on an adventure to try and find my family type of thing, and so that he, so that we're going in the car on like a road trip type of thing, and just
I see. It's majority based at the house,
isn't it? Yeah, so it's like, oh right, okay.
Do you think he was going to have like his little stick with his handkerchief with his stuff walking down the street with everything he needs?
I don't know. I guess in a way I thought that was going to be something like that. Like on a means of, or at least going in within the area of stuff. Like he got only so far, but at least he tried type of thing.
Oh, bless him! But when he was being like "Loop," and pooing himself and having a little bit of stick, that was quite cute and comical. Because it must be daunting. Like, you're so tiny.
You're getting car sick.
And the world is massive, and I think he's getting frightened of certain things he's seeing as well. And it's all different and change, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it just made me wonder where he comes from. Like, he's always lived in the house, hasn't he? So you must be right. They must have had sex.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm obviously just putting that kind of spin.
It's not like they picked a baby, from the seaside, did they?
Yeah.
Because I think he's always lived there. He's not known any different.
And obviously I don't even know how far they are away from the sea, to get the shells, whereabouts they're actually based.
Yeah.
But that's by the by, I suppose.
So I think it all kind of stems from Marcel getting like one constructive kind of like, oh, you can be interviewed on this TV program, and I might be able to help you find your relatives. If you come for this interview, and we can interview your person who's documenting you as well, and all of that. And the guy don't really want to be interviewed. He's like, no, not me. In the end, I think he does actually do it, and you do get to see his face.
Yeah. And
obviously, the nan or the grandma really wants him to do this, because she's obviously thinking it's a great opportunity.
And
for
he's
him.
A big fan of Leslie.
Yeah. So they all come into the house.
Yeah.
This is a bit that confuses me, because a couple also that used to live there arrive as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know if we'd gone to their houses to see, like, oh, what's in your drawer? Have you still got these shells, like, knocking around? Because this is where I'm a bit like, I got confused, and I'm like, how do I get confused on how this ends? It's so simple.
I mean, the fact that because the couple were back in the house and then they were arguing again, and then somehow that triggered the fact of rumblings, like, oh, because the family all hid in a drawer, it turns out they were in a drawer the whole time.
Yeah, but Marcel knew that.
That's when things got rough, they hid away.
Yeah, and he knew they were in the drawer, and I'm sure he said the drawer was taken away.
Well, I mean, it looked like they were kind of buried underneath some load of socks or something, so I don't know.
I mean, how are they still alive?
Must have eaten. Still like cannibals.
Like, they can't get out. Like, how are they still functioning? So, unless shells don't need a lot of food. Because obviously they showed, like, the pantry of the shells, and there's, like, this tiny raisin kind of thing.
A little drop of water to sustenance.
Yeah, so maybe, but they wouldn't have had any water in a cupboard or drawer. So, see, if we spin it on your
logic,
then there's no point. You can't.
Yeah.
You have to just take it for what it is and enjoy it for what it is. You can't just think, oh, shells have sex and how do they eat? Because really, what shell has...
how do they die also?
Getting squished, I guess. Or old age.
Because the grandma just like kind of fades away with a bit like ending of that Ricky Gervais Afterlife, where I can just see him walking off in the distance and then kind of just fades away into nothingness. So
it implies that she's just no longer here. Yeah, but what? How and how?
Because one of those instances where they must have used like CGI or something for some of the insect shots, because
they were beautifully done, weren't they?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, but they weren't stop motion.
No,
there was added elements for that.
But with the interaction of the grandma with the bees, and I think that's quite sad initially when he's on his own and he's like, I don't know what you want of me, and he's like, I can't help you, she's not here, go away. And it's like, it kind of just tugs at your heartstrings. But in the end it all works out for the best, doesn't it? They all get reunited and they've been in the drawer all along.
Yeah.
And then he's got his little community back. Obviously the grandma
He's not there, but
it's not there, but at least she knows she's looking down on him, and he's got all his family and he's not on his own. So
there's a lot of liquid comes out of one eye, doesn't it? Because there's like a pool of water when he's like really sad. He's dripping down. The spiders are drinking his tears, delicious tears.
Really sad.
And just that little, I don't know what the song is, but at the funeral, all the families around. It's quite sweet.
It is, and I think it just shows like what's actually important. I think that's what this gives you.
One of the other cute things I liked about it was, I think they do at the end as well, maybe when they're all collectively there, but the fact of when there's dust on the table, and so like an ice skating rink, just like snow's falling.
And I think that's the cute idea of the way that it is childlike, with the simplicity of how, we'll jump off the sofa, get dust, and we'll,
make our own snow. And
and I think that's what, when you're little, you do stuff like that, like, the floor's lava, you can't stand on it or anything like that. And I think
it's amazing how a lot of kids all thought of that same concept as an idea to do, isn't it? I don't know
where it came from.
I know.
Yeah. It's a good game.
Well, so much I think I'm sure Netflix made a TV show about it. Like a game show.
Oh, like a Takeshi's Castle kind of thing?
I think something like that.
Okay.
But not seen it, but...
I thought you meant just seeing how many different kids can go through...
No.
Like the Japanese program that we watched on Netflix, where it's like they send off like the 2-year-old to...
Oh, yeah.
Go do a chore.
Yeah. One more thing before we go to scoring, unless you got anything else to say.
No, I think I'm done, sweets.
Okay. I don't know if you remember ever seeing on TV a show called Creature Comforts.
Sounds familiar.
It's like an Aardman animation, which obviously like the team behind Wallace and Gromit.
Okay, yep.
And it was in the same sort of style and way of having stop motion animals talking to the camera as if, like in a documentary style. And they'd pose like, it was just like the topic would be something like jobs or what makes you laugh.
I don't think I've seen this.
And obviously it's just like animals in certain situations where they're just, as let's say, just talking to the camera, but they're voiced by people who, they've taken probably they've interviewed actual people and got their thoughts on something. And they've just voiced
that's cute.
person to give the answers in an animated style. So that kind of, in a way, reminded me of what this is. Only, obviously, the documentary style and stop motion.
Well, I'll have to go and see that.
There might be stuff on YouTube, actually.
You'll have to show me.
Yeah.
Ooh. So now, when we're going back to scoring, we're taking it in turns. It's not just always me, so this is actually you first.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Well, based on what I've seen, I'm not like saying like I don't know what the 4K would have offered other than like a sharper picture, but I think for the sort of that indie style of everything, it probably looked a bit nicer and cleaner and everything like that. But I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be getting the 4K of this. So it works for the majority of like the simplistic storytelling and the use of the stop motion stuff in this kind of style it's going for works nicely. But it's not like top marks for me on this one, really. Not to say like it wouldn't be something to say I'll never see again.
Right.
But it's quite cute.
Only quite.
Yeah.
Very.
So I'm going to put it at 8.5.
Okay.
And I feel like it would be something that not necessarily like a young child would watch. Like a 5-year-old would, especially like some of the maybe philosophical thoughts on how things work. But so like a teen would probably get behind and probably be intrigued by. But yeah, just throw that in there. And what the film offers, but
So, think I'm a bit higher than you are.
Hmm.
I'm torn, because initially when I first watched it, I was definitely like, it's a 10.
Hmm.
And then reflection, it's like, it's one of those that you put on and it's light, it's fluffy, it makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one that's like, oh, this is absolutely amazing, best thing I've ever seen. But at the same time, then it's like, it is brilliant and it's simplistic and it's clever with the stop frame and all of these things that's got going for it. I can't really say one thing that is bad about it. And that's making me think, well, really, Sophie, you should stick with what you said initially. It should be a 10.
Mm-hmm.
But then I go, oh, well, it's not like a 10 compared to Singing in the Rain. But it's a 10 in its own way.
Well, go with your gut, go with your heart. Because that mean that there's films I might give a 10, but that doesn't mean that they're in the top 10 of my top
20 or whatever.
10 out of 10 films, or whatever.
I just think it's just wonderfully done. It's so cute. It's simplistic. I don't know if it's just because you've eased me in after Halloween and this has been so fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
It just made me feel really good and nice inside.
Well, then, yeah, if you feel that way, then you...
And Marcel the Shell is just absolutely adorable. Like when he's... Obviously he knows his grandma's passed away and he has to have his shoes painted black to attend. Little things like that just make the character... There's some good morals behind it. And I just think, yeah, it's Sophie, really. Well, Sophie, me. I really liked it. So it's a 10. I would recommend it. I wouldn't probably buy it in 4K because that's just not who I am. Anyways, I'd just wait for you to buy it. But if you're not going to buy it, I don't think I'm going to buy it.
Stick with the disc we've got.
As long as I can watch it, I'm not really fussed, you know me.
Yeah, it's there, so we've got it now and to enjoy for the future, but yeah.
So I hope everyone's enjoyed our thoughts on Marcel the Shell. Do go check it out, and if you want to check any of our other podcasts out, then you can do so. I'm going to swiftly slide for Paul to do that part.
You would...
I don't really listen to you when you talk to them this bit. I just zone out.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
You can go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you get your podcasts from to check out some of our other episodes. And also on there, you can kindly give us a 5-star review on those platforms to help us reach a wider audience. Be very much appreciated.
And if you want to follow us for more exciting stuff with what Paul's bought or leading up to the Christmas word, then you can do...
The C word.
C word. Then you can follow us on social media. We are on all your main social media platforms, so like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. Is that a thing still?
Mm-hmm. It is.
So you can follow us on all of those under the handle SP_filmviewers. If you leave any lovely comments, follows, likes, all of that jazz.
And now we come to the Patreon section.
Mm-hmm. Lastly but not least.
Mm-hmm.
So we have my wonderful mum.
Also got our podcast friends Nico from the Good, the Bad, the Weird podcast, Mark from 100 Things We Learned from Film, and Ben from Film Vloggers.
All brilliant podcasts, so do check them out and give them all your love and support. We've been on theirs and they've been on ours, so you'll see their names petered out through either podcasts.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely go and listen to them. So then I feel like we've got majority of our friends basically that actually listen to our podcasts, which is incredible because I know they have to listen to us in person as well. So like the thought of having to then put us on and listen to us when we're not there is quite surprising. So we have our first Patreon, which was Jonesy, wasn't it? I'd say out of all your friends, who's the loyal one.
Yeah.
Happy birthday for last week as well. So if you want to find him, he's on Instagram under the handle Weight Loss Jonesy. He's then got his wonderful partner, Emma, and she, I think she only joined us just so that she could vote for the Christmas special, to be fair, Paul said you can't let her down. And if you want to find her on Instagram, she's under the handle M_Hayton. We've also got Gren, which was your best man at our wedding. Happy 1 year anniversary to us. Obviously, it's a bit belated when this comes out, but
yeah, has been, yeah.
So if you want to find Gren on Instagram, you can under the handle @cgren_draw. And lastly but not least, the lovely duo, which I'll leave to you.
Okay. So we've got Shani, who is under the handle SDOG on Instagram, and Alex, who is under the handle Desperately Seeking Username on Instagram.
We did actually go to see Jurassic Park in
concert.
Yeah. So it was an orchestral piece played while you watched the movie. We've already seen it, me and Paul have, and actually witnessed all current weather while we were there. But this was nice because we were nice and dry inside
enjoying it.
And yeah, it was lovely to kind of share that moment with them.
Yeah, because he's a big fan of the film.
He is. There was not really a tear though, which, you know. There is a Home Alone one as well, which I am kind of like itching at the same time as not. But yeah, I'll stop talking about Christmas now because I know we've still got another month. So what else do we need to do? Do we just need to thank people now? Is that it? Are we done?
We just need to tell them that if they want to join
our
Patreon
and
get the opportunity to vote for a movie once a month, they can do so by going to patreon.com/SP Film Viewers.
Yeah, so it is just £1 or $1.50 to become a Patreon, and you get to vote for a film once a month, and you get your shout out every single week. I mean, and we say so much nice things about you, so why wouldn't you join?
True that. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening once again, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye now.
Bye.
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 Bye.